on the troll.
Hello and welcome back to Mzansi. We're back again. It is that time of the night where we have to talk about what happened yesterday. But before we talk about what happened yesterday, I'm going to talk about what happened to us yesterday, right? I think,
yes.
Yeah.
I
So
think that would be a best place to start.
yeah. So guys, yesterday we were supposed to shoot. We were supposed to shoot yesterday, and I know that was supposed to happen, but it did not happen because there was a problem where we stay, where we shoot. I mean, there was internet issues.
Yes, yesterday, guys, we had internet issues.
There was internet issues yesterday.
I would say the people that have the line that connect us were the problem because they were fixing it the whole day. You know?
Yeah. So we are sorry about that. Unfortunately, there was nothing we could have used to actually be live. But what we are going to do...
And that also really affected other things, like we have a plan to recover from this.
So what we are going to do is to give you what happened yesterday, and then we are not going to take calls. We will come back later to give you the rest of what happened today. So for those who are night riders, we will be here until late.
Yeah,
And
we'll
for
have
those
to
who
recover.
are here and are happy that we are live early, this is exceptional circumstances for exceptional situations that we are facing. Meaning we are in a predicament of situations that we are not used to. As Grobler would say, exceptional circumstances call
Under
for exceptional
circumstances, my
situations and solutions. And this is our solution. So we are
So
here.
yesterday was also a bit tricky because there was no internet. You know, it was tricky following the case. So that's why.
I think, Emily, I'm just gonna finish this one, and then I'll let you run with the other one, and we'll take it further from there. We are sorry about that, guys. It was something that we didn't plan for. After traveling so much, I was surprised to hear that we cannot go live because of that. But
Actually,
today
we kept getting hope that maybe it will get fixed.
we stayed. I think I would say we stayed in the studio for like up until 12. Then we realized later it's not happening.
Yeah.
And then we then had to leave. I had to go where I stay, and then Emily had to go also. But we are really sorry, guys. As you can see, this is unplanned, but we are going to, for the sake of completeness, we're going to give you what happened yesterday. We're going to complete everything.
Yes, because yesterday follows on to today as well, so we cannot skip it. It's like a foundation of what took place today. So I don't feel comfortable leaving it out. Usually I would just be like, let's continue with what we have so far. But now I'm like, Grobler is an interesting witness in my opinion. She deserves coverage. She gave us a lot of gems.
Yeah, there were a lot of gems, but we are going to hear them as Emily fixes whatever that she's going through there. It's a tough one. It's a very tough one. Even everything is unprepared. I think
So
we
guys, I
prepared
could
for-
not even like update you on the community tab. The internet was completely down. I could not even like go to the community tab like I usually do and inform you guys. I'm sure some of you are worried what's happening now. But I was like, I would rather not like tell you, because I didn't even have the time of estimation as to when we will be back, you know. So I was like, if I stay, oh, we'll be back tomorrow, and then it turns out tomorrow we're not even coming back. I was like, I can't do that. Let me just see or sort out. Let me put the stress to the people that are actually responsible for this. You understand what I'm saying? So yes, we are back now, and the court yesterday was very interesting, and I would like for us to go through the events of what happened in that court yesterday. I did see that today the sound was a mess. I could not really, but yesterday it was better. The sound was fine. Everything was fine except for cuts. There was some instances where the broadcast would just cut off and then come back and cut off. I don't know what's happening. But something doesn't feel right. Something is not right. I think everybody, or maybe most of the people, are fed up, or they are just tired. Plus, it's closer to recess. We are getting closer to recess. So yes, Advocate Baloyi was addressing the court, although we could not hear what was really happening because the sound was off. But apparently he said that Advocate Mnisi would like to take the witness under cross-examination. I don't know with regards to what, but the witness was Captain Retha Grobler, okay, a ballistic expert who verified Mangena's work, which linked the firearm confiscated from accused number 3, Mtobise Ngube, and the bullet found at the scene. So Sibanda was the one doing the cross-examination of this witness, which was very interesting. But luckily he didn't drag it. I don't think he dragged it or could drag it.
They were never going to drag it, as I predicted last time. And I'm sorry, I keep now sound like a broken record. I did predict that they're going to start with Grobler, and then the last one is going to be, the best is going to be left for the last. And it did happen. And
exactly
obviously
like
they had to finish with this one. Because they can't keep this one waiting. These ones, they don't wait. So even if you want to drag it, you couldn't drag it with this one. I was not even worried when they were cross-examining her. I felt they are going to finish because she's in a hurry to finish. And if you ask me, she doesn't know an inch, according to my opinion, of what happened there. It's like being taken and say, wear this. Say something
She's
about
giving an impression that, yes, she doesn't know what's
There's
going on.
nothing that tells me that woman did check that gun. Nothing.
You're not convinced.
I'm not convinced. I can tell you right now. Hence, she had to come with an affidavit.
Affidavit.
Which is surprising for someone who's an expert. Allegedly expect.
Affidavit. Well, yeah, she said that she's a captain at the Forensic Science Laboratory. So we already went through her affidavit on the previous episode that we had, or the previous live. I think it was on Friday. Yes, and we'll just take bits and pieces as we go along. I did not cover that entire affidavit. I'm like, okay, it was read into the record before. So Sibanda asked Grobler regarding her surname change. Captain Mangena referred to her as Filion, and Grobler said that Filion is actually her maiden surname. She has gotten married in the meantime, and prior to joining the ballistics section, she said that she was a student. She was promoted to the rank of captain in 2007. Grobler has testified in the magistrate and high courts before, and she could not recall the exact number of times that she has testified in the courts. She has 24 years in ballistics experience. She has worked on other high-profile matters, including the Town massacre in 2006. Who still remembers that? Who still remembers the Town massacre? I think we covered it briefly because it's the case that has helped us analyze the judge that is presiding over the Senzo Meyiwa trial currently, Judge Ratha Grobler, and his demeanor and behavior. And we did do a live where we're trying to put together these pieces of this very strange behavior, because turns out it was happening even in 2006. The legal representatives of the accused in that court proceeding or the matter of the JP's Town massacre had similar complaints as to these current lawyers and what we are literally seeing live with our very own eyes. And we talked about it, we deliberated on it. So if you don't know what we're talking about, just scroll through the past lives. You will see a video titled "He Has Done This Before" on the thumbnail. Then you can get a full breakdown of what was happening in that case. I think we tried our best to cover it, although a lot happened, but we just needed the bits and pieces, the highlights, especially regarding the lawyers, the attorneys that were representing the accused at the time. So, as well as the matter of Lolly Jackson. Lolly Jackson was also a high-profile case and a high-profile matter. Yeah, it was with regards to something else. Maybe one day we'll talk about it. But for now, that's what she says. Those two high-profile cases are the ones that she has covered. In her role, she said she was a crime scene examiner as well as a ballistic expert in terms of the exhibits. Okay. And I'm like, okay, you are using the word expert. 6 years into your job, already you were an expert. Wow. 6 years in, and already you were an expert. I'm like, yo. So the judge said that, yeah, for him, she was asking Grobler if she can recall that he was the one participating in that case. He didn't say which case it was, but of course, I put 2 and 2 together. It's the JP's massacre that he was talking about. And Grobler said that she did not testify in that case. So Grobler seems to have been working under behind the scenes. She was the one, because there was a lot of shooting. I think a lot of people were shot in that case, including the police officers as well as the robbers and the thieves and the criminals. So it was a lot to go through. I'm sure it needed more than one ballistic expert or one ballistic analyst. It needed more than one. It was a lot. So the judges said that he was a judge in that case. So yeah, I was wondering if he's the one who declared her an expert, but she said she didn't testify. So I don't know who declared Grobler an expert, because need to be declared by a judge according to Judge Retha Grobler in order for you to be referred to as an expert. Also, the judge seemed very disappointed with her reaction when she said that she doesn't know him. I'm like, he was expecting it to be like, oh yeah, I remember, but she was like, I didn't even testify in that case, so I don't know who you, I don't know. Oh yeah, he's like, so the judge seemed like disappointed. I don't know if I'm the only one who saw that, but I felt like, yo, Ratha was your like Uncle Sam, allegedly. So Grobler said that she met Mangena in 2000. That's when she joined the Ballistics, and they have been colleagues ever since, and they are on the same floor on adjacent offices. So I was wondering if they are not working in an open office plan. It seems like everyone has their own office. Yeah. From what I picked up from her. She also said that Captain Tini and Lieutenant Colonel Sereo are also on that very same floor. Grobler said that Mangena came to her office to give her the microscopic opinion, and she said that in their line of work, it's acceptable for colleagues to give opinions on each other's work. She gave her opinion to Captain Tini in August of this year. Colonel Kloppers gave her his opinion a month ago this year. So this does not happen on a daily basis, this giving opinions situation, from what I could pick up from her testimony. It's not like it's an everyday thing.
It's an exceptional thing.
Under exceptional
circumstances.
You know, when you hear exceptional circumstances, you must know. Hey, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. Allegedly. Allegedly, okay. So Sibanda then said, what is the purpose of asking for an opinion? And Grobler said that it's an independent objective. It is just someone who would like you to give an opinion as they give you the exhibits, and they would like to ask your opinion as to what your findings are.
Yes.
Then Sibanda asked him, does your standard operating procedures describe how many analysts you can approach for an opinion? And Grobler said there's no limit. Sibanda said, does the standard operating procedure also describe which examiners in terms of rank can you ask an opinion on? And Grobler said no. As long as the person is qualified and competent on the specific level of examination, they are entitled to give an opinion or verification. So, go ballistic science laboratory, guys, akusebenzi ngamarenke, akuhambi ngamarenke. As long as you are there, you are qualified enough to give an opinion. Whether you are a junior or a what, according to Grobler, that does not matter. So Sibanda asked her to explain how she performed that microscopic evaluation, and Grobler said that Colonel Mangena came with a file, gave her an exhibit bullet and test bullet, and she placed on the comparison microscope. So according to her, this is where you can see two images at the same time joined by an optical bridge. So Mnisi asked her to take her time and slow down as she's moving very fast. Mnisi got up to try to get her to, because already she was speaking very fast. Even I couldn't keep up. I was struggling to keep up with her as well. She was speaking very fast, and then Mnisi was like, we are writing down here. Can you please speak at a slower pace?
Slow down.
Slow down. You could tell that she wanted to get this over and done with. So Grobler apologized and continued to say that she took the test bullet on both the left and right hand side of the microscope. She then compared the tests to each other to familiarize herself with the markings. And after she was satisfied with that, she placed them on the side of the microscope and put the exhibit bullet on and searched for individual markings to be used for the microscope comparison. She said that she then put the best test on the right side of the microscope. The test with the best markings, once she had the groove or land that she was satisfied with in the exhibit. So Grobler said that she then rotated the test bullet on the microscope to identify the same markings. She said that she was satisfied that the two bullets were fired from the same firearm based on the sufficient agreement of class and individual characteristics. After that, she placed the second test bullet on the right hand side of the microscope, and then she repeated the same process until she was satisfied that there was sufficient agreement of class and individual characteristics. She then proceeded to inform Mangena that she's of the opinion that the exhibit bullet and the test bullet were fired from the same firearm. Sibanda then asked her to clarify in simple terms what sufficient agreement means in ballistics, and Grobler said that they refer to the striation on the bullet. There is a pattern match. The marking, the special relation, everything is the same on the exhibit bullet as well as the test bullet. So the other factors that they took into consideration when they look at the striations, Grobler said that it was the depth, the width, the ridges, the furrows of the specific markings on the bullet. Her office, she said, has a microscope. And then she also explained about how if you don't have a microscope, there's one that everyone can use on the floor, the fourth floor, the floor that they are working on. So there's a general one that everybody can use, but everyone who has an office, it seems they have a microscope in that office. So Sibanda asked her what the class and individual characteristics are, and Grobler said that class characteristics are determined prior to manufacturing by the manufacturer themselves. For example, whether the barrel is rifled with 5 grooves to the left or the right, or the distance between whether you have a broader groove or a narrower grooves. They are predetermined deliberate marks. And Grobler said that they can eliminate a firearm using class characteristics by counting the grooves. If the firearm has 6 grooves and the bullet has 5, then it eliminates that firearm. Asked if she was able to remove a fired bullet from a revolver looking at the class characteristics, characteristics, Grobler said that a revolver tends to have slip marks, that slippage that Mangena was talking about. She said that there is a gap between a cylinder and the barrel, so slipping or slippage happens when it comes to a revolver. So individual characteristics, she said, are specific markings in the grooves and the lanes called accidental marks. So those marks, she said, are made to be, I think I wrote it down here. Sorry, guys. Are made during the manufacturing process while the groove is being cut.
Yeah.
So that was her answer. So asked if can two different firearms have the exact individual or class characteristics. Grobler said no, two bullets fired from two different firearms might share the class characteristics, but they will not share individual characteristics. After she was done with a comparison on the microscope, Grobler said that she did not document her opinion. Okay, this is very important.
So why are you there? Let me tell you my opinion. Why you are there, Grobler, it's an issue of numbers, probability. It's 4, 5 versus 1. And one thing that I want you to take recognition of is that the defense worked so hard in rebutting everything that is said there, and then even the line of questioning changes. It is aligned to what the defense has canvassed with a similar witness. But now asking a second one, a third one, it's like there's always that third or second witness. That's why now in this ballistic thing we have about 4, 5, 6. I don't know
witnesses.
how many more, that are coming. Isaiah Patiedi, thank you very much for your gift and welcome. Again, our member Stembile Mkwanas, welcome. So there is a correction that keeps on happening, and it is allowed in that court. Unfortunately, like you can rebut the first one as an expert. Comes the second one to rectify that. Even the line of questioning. Now we are asked about the what we call it. Yeah, ask about the revolver and all that. Are they admitting that there might have been a revolver or not? No, they are not. They are trying to say this was not a revolver. They are trying now. They've added something new, eliminating a revolver. That's how it is there. That's how.
But they cannot eliminate that revolver.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. They will always try to twist as they go. In my opinion, as they go. Their theory keeps on changing. Like if you look at this case, it's a nonsense of high note in my opinion. It keeps on changing.
Yeah.
We started from the beginning. They said they were intruders. Then intruders, they stole these people's phone and then they ran away.
Yes.
Then from there, as Bozandi were testifying, that seems to be a theory. Then later they said no. These intruders. They had a mastermind inside that house who was busy directing them. Now the theory, like it's always changing to suit the narrative. Immediately when they say, no, we don't need Kelly anymore to come and testify, we're dropping Kelly, then the theory started changing. You tell me that is the court that really is conducive and seeking to give justice to those who felt the pain of Senzo and the rest of the world. No, these people are, it sounds to me like these are people who are really trying to cover something up all the time. Like we are patching. We will keep on, even if we'll come back.
Come and fix it.
So tape. If we have keep tape as fuck. Like there's always gonna be something, Someone can come there and say, we lied. They will change it and say this person could have been in my opinion, this is obvious, this is my opinion. This person could be a person who stole a certain document somewhere. Like this is how far this case can go. As long as they are in a position that is compromised, they will twist and find a way of being in having an upper hand. And that is the problem. And I'm not a judge, but if I was a judge and I see that, it's nonsense, man.
I also found that revolver question from Sibanda very weird, because why are you bringing in a revolver? There was no need for him to bring it in, because there's no dispute over the fact that the bullets that were presented in court belong to a pistol. So why is he trying to make it seem like...
He's trying to close the theory now that is coming out of those people who basically debunking their own affidavits.
Yes. That they had to write secondary affidavits to cancel the initial ones that happened closer to the incident.
That is what we have got into.
So you mention a revolver or a gun with a wheel in 2014, but then come 2018, you want another statement to cancel the one that said you saw a gun with a wheel. So that's literally what is happening. And it's the work and design of how the state is approaching this case. So yes, speaking on her opinion, or that she did not need to document her opinion, she said that it is not required. Only the verifier is the one that documents the findings. So in this case, it would be Colonel Sereo. Sereo is the one who documents. The rest of them who give opinions, they just look. They're like, so depending on whether I like you or not, allegedly. Allegedly. So depending on how I feel on that day, I just zoom into the microscope and I'm like, oh, it's a match. Okay. Or it's not a match. But it's not a match is going to make your job difficult. Is it not going to make that job difficult? It is. And depending on how I feel about you, yeah, it's a match. That's what it feels like from Grobler's testimony. That it's just you know, it's an order of the day. It's not much effort needs to be placed on it. No documenting. You just give your opinion. You just look through the microscope and you see whether what Mangena saw is the same thing that you're seeing, and then you're like, okay, it's fine, you know. And I'm not expecting that. I'm not. In fact, I'm like very, very disappointed that that's how they do stuff. So Sibanda asked her what happens during the verification process, and Grobler said that Lieutenant Colonel Sereo is the official verifier. He is the one who will document his independent findings on a specific form. Asked if she was aware that any other examiner or analyst was asked for an opinion, Grobler said that she was not aware. Okay, she said that she was not aware. So then Sibanda asked her, you also made mention that you were approached on the 22nd of July 2020. Asked if she had an independent recollection of the incident, Grobler said that the date was provided to her, by Lieutenant Colonel Mangena. So she could not even recall the date when she gave this opinion. That is a problem. You know, when we first started with the live, you said something very interesting, that you don't feel like it's your opinion, of course, that she did there's any opinion that she even gave. So the fact that she had to look at Mangena's affidavit to remember that it was the day, she even asked Mangena, when did I give this opinion? Mangena was like, it was the day before Sereo. It was the day before. Mangena is the one telling her that. And then she looked at Mangena's affidavit to verify the date. And then she's like, oh yeah, it was the 22nd of September. Yo. So she also corrected herself to say that it's Mangena's case file. When she asked Mangena about the day, he informed her that it was before Lieutenant Colonel Sereo did the verification, and she confirmed it with the case file. So yes, after that short adjournment, now it was time for a cross-examination. But just before that happened, Sibanda finished off what was left of his questioning, and she asked, have you testified outside the borders of the country? Grobler said yes. Grobler said that she examined a crime scene in the DRC, and Sibanda asked what the circumstances of that case were. Grobler said that one of the SANDF members went to where his girlfriend worked, fired multiple shots, and then turned the firearm on himself. He did not die and was subsequently charged with the murder of his girlfriend.
Mauto in Africa, thank you very much for your donation. God bless you.
God bless you. God bless you. Thank you so much, everyone. So yes, Grobler here is giving us information. Mr. Anonymous, I can't believe this, but Sibanda managed to make Grobler share what happened with a very, in my opinion, I felt like it was a hush-hush story. This story came out on the news, but no names were mentioned. In fact, no incidents were mentioned. It was a case of two soldiers, of members of the SANDF, who were reported to have died at the DRC. But there were no details as to what had happened to them, if they were attacked by rebel groups. And I remember, I may be wrong, but even the CIC had mentioned that something about it's not only him, of course, because the story was so hush-hush and everybody started speculating. The speculations that were covered or were coming from the general public on social media was, what if they were attacked by the rebel groups? What if our soldiers are not strong enough to face these rebel groups in the DRC? Turns out it was just a romantic relationship between two SANDF members that went terribly wrong and sour. So I'm like, wow. I remember following that story.
I'm not going to say much.
Wanting to know what had happened.
I'm not going to say much on the story. I've got my own reasons. I would like to reserve my comment.
Okay.
Because it just doesn't make sense to me. Really doesn't make sense to me. But it does happen in this world where things happen like that. But let me say it in a nice way.
Find a palatable way to say it.
It sounds like, the easiest thing was to call it that. What if that was the easiest thing? Let's call it. These people just decided it was romantic, and then let's not put it as if they were overpowered. Which could be on the cards, in my opinion. But it's okay. It's fine. Take the story that we give you. That's what the news is. If it was that easy and straightforward, the news would have ran with it. Why was it such a hush-hush? But it's okay.
The media just reported two soldiers, and then that was it. Follow up, I kept waiting, trying to find out what happened to our soldiers there in the DRC. And now Grobler is coming in with this theory in court in the Senzo Meyiwa Trial. Oh, Senzo.
Thank you very much.
Senzo. Guys,
we get to know things that we would not know if on a normal day, but it's okay. Let us not talk about these things.
Okay, so Sibanda then said, did you know which case you were dealing with when you gave your opinion to Colonel Mangena? And Grobler said that she asked him after giving her opinion, and he said that it was the Senzo Meyiwa case. So Sibanda said, if the defense for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 were asked you if this was a borderline case, what would be your comment? And Grobler said that it is not a borderline case. There is sufficient agreement of individual characteristics. Well, here as Mnisi, I remember him having a problem with how Sibanda had put this question. He was putting it as if the defense is the one saying that this case is a borderline case, when he could have framed it a little bit better to say, what do you think? What you put it in a general way, because how he's asking it is putting is putting the witness in a position where they feel like they need to be against the defense and be on the side of the state or pick a side. And then the judge said he will allow the question, so he allowed Sibanda to ask the question how he had asked it, which was very, very biased.
As usual.
Yeah, he allowed him to do that. So I was very shocked. I was like, Judge, how? Guelo, Judge. This question, he should reframe it, honestly speaking, because how he's putting it, it's almost like pick a side. And Grobler, yes, was going to pick the side that she was going to pick. So also Mgomezulu now had his own cross-examination. So he had a few questions. He asked Grobler if she has ever had a different opinion to Mangena in other cases. Grobler answered yes. But when asked if she had ever differed with Mangena, she said that she can't recall whether she had agreed or disagreed with him. But the possibilities are there. What does that mean, Grobler?
It means they've never disagreed.
Why can't you just answer the question? Why do you now have to put it like this? Like what? But the possibilities are there. I'm like, what? Yes or no? Then Mgomezulu asked her, but you can recall something that happened in July 2020. And he said, this is a fair question, ma'am. You know, since you didn't write notes, you know. Have you ever given an opinion that is different to the findings of Lieutenant Colonel Mangena? And Grobler said that she cannot recall. That wrapped up Mgomezulu's cross-examination. Very short, yet effective.
Yeah, then not giving it significance. The person who's here to testify, not giving him the weight that the judge and the rest, in my opinion, would have liked to see. And Mgomezulu has those tendencies of, if you are there to confirm, in my opinion, Mgomezulu does not entertain you.
Yeah, it doesn't waste the whole day trying to ask you stuff. He just asks you highlight questions that he needs, and then he moves on. Like, just
to demonstrate that you are there to actually
support.
This was in one way, without saying anything that much, was to say you are just here to support
your colleague. Yes, nothing wrong with that, but it's a problem when you're gonna now lie under oath, allegedly, if she lied. No. So Sipho Ramasipili then followed with his cross-examination of Grobler, and he started with Grobler's CV and asked whether she had attended the training by the FBI that Mangena and Sireo attended. Grobler said no, she did not attend it. Ramasipili then asked her, when were you declared competent? And she said that it was in April 2004. So Ramasipili asked, how many cases have you done after giving an opinion to Mangena? And Grobler said it would have been, or would have to be 100, because she works 34 hours in a month, including overtime. So Ramasipili asked, how come do you recall the details of this opinion when you did not note or record anything? And Grobler said that she had already said that after her findings, she asked Lieutenant Colonel which case this was, and he said that it was the Senzo Meyiwa case. And she said that she knows that she made a positive match on that case.
Yet she cannot remember if they have ever disagreed. Yet you cannot remember the date when you made that positive. You don't have notes. You don't have anything to demonstrate how you did it. Take your word as a policeman.
The court must just take her word.
You are there as a policeman, so you are always right. The mentality of prior 1994.
She said, I know Lieutenant Colonel Mangena was done with his findings. I did my own independent work. That was never recorded anyway. She did her own independent work.
Exceptional circumstances.
Ramasipili then said, based on the fact that your opinion is not recorded anywhere, you don't have a document like that. And Grobler said, I don't have that. All we have is your say-so. Cesar Mosepila, all we have is just...
Must take your word for it.
Then Grobler said, that's correct. I did it under oath. So where did you did it under oath? So as you were telling Mangena, it's positive you were doing it under oath. Or you mean your affidavit in court? The one that has no substance, that is just coming as a written document, that you cannot even recall the date on which you did this. Okay, that's very interesting. Ramasepile then said at the time Mangena gave test bullet 3 to 10. Did you know that he made a positive finding? And Grobler said that she knew he made a finding, but she didn't know what it was. She said that she told him what her finding was after conducting her own work. And that is when he told her that I also got a positive. She said she did her own work and then later found that it was the same to that of Mangena.
Mm-hmm.
Ramasipili then said, which method did you employ to identify the striations? And Grobler said pattern matching. So she's sticking to what Sereo. Hey, do you guys recognize this pattern? Here's Mangena, Mungwadi Taba, coming in and saying, I use both pattern matching and CMS. Mangena is an expert. I regard him as an expert, even though here it's really in Shabbat dizzy. I'm very dizzy with his testimony here, but I regard him as an expert merely because he's been working in ballistics for so long, right? So here's Mangena saying, I used CMS and I used pattern matching. And then Cyril, the one who did the verification, testifies under Mangena. And he says, in South Africa, we only use pattern matching. Guess what? Grobler comes and says, only pattern matching, my lord. So Grobler, in verifying Mangena's work, and they are colleagues, you're trying to tell us that Mangena is the only one who works with both pattern matching and CMS. Only him in that department.
Well, you attended the class that this guy attended.
But
Peterse.
All of them are supposed to be using CMS, in my opinion, or both pattern matching and CMS to ensure that what their findings are correct. Because that's what Mangena was trying to do, in my opinion, when he used pattern matching and CMS.
It's pointless to use CMS or to say they must. They could have used anything. Then they should have came to the same conclusion as they did, as they say they did. The issue with me is how she described quality and quantitative. I was shocked.
Striations.
For someone who
Is
studied in my university, I was very shocked. The explanation of quality versus quantitative, which is two different things. Two different things. I was shocked. As an expert, that you do not understand the word qualitative that pattern matching uses. I mean, that is under. Pattern matching is under qualitative. And then CMS is under quantitative. You know? So CMS is more based on numbers as facts.
So she said that Grobler described CMS as quantitative method to describe a pattern match. That was the definition. Now it shocked me so much that I wrote it on my notes, and I was like, what? This does not sound like what Sereo was saying. To me, it shook at me. It was like, where are we? What are we? Why isn't it sounding like how Sereo was saying it? It sounded like something totally different. So I was shocked. I won't lie.
It doesn't. You know, I learned about qualitative and quantitative in statistics qualitative and quantitative research. Also in my research, you choose quantitative more based on certain things, and qualitative is more based on certain things. In simple terms, quantitative data, quantitative is numbers based accountability or measurables, and then qualitative is an interpretation based on descriptive. I was shocked when he was even failing to understand that quality and quantitative and qualitative, those are three things.
Now, Ramasipili's cross-examination was very theoretical. It was more or less a repetition of the definitions that he had given prior. And one of the highlights is this description that Ms. Grobler gave of a qualitative and quantitative method. You know, it was very shocking. And there was a part there when he was going through CMS with Grobler and Jonas. I don't know who picked up Ubabu Jonas when he said that he's not going to interpret something that he doesn't know. And I was like, yo, Bab Jonas, why are you making us miss Mr. Why this attitude now? Like, Bab Jonas,
he has it, Jonas. He has it. As
As
much as we miss him when he's not there, but he has it. But look at the behavior. He comes back when people who are in a rush are back. These are people that, in my opinion, the state would like to see out of that stand.
And they know he's fast because that other one is very, very slow. I'm like, Marababa Jonas, like, why are you so aggro? Why is it spicy? You just write down like how you used to do it. You write down, you catch whatever you can catch. If you didn't, you politely ask them to repeat it or something like that. What's with this attitude? I cannot interpret something that I didn't hear. I didn't understand. I'm like, hey, bro. What is this now? Very simply then said, we as the defense have retained Mr. Dave Pieterse, the defense ballistic expert. He has examined test bullet 1 up until 10 and compared the exhibit bullet in the presence of Brigadier Gininda and Colonel Mangena. And his findings are that this is an inconclusive finding. They asked Grobler for a comment. And she said, Mr. Pieterse is entitled. We do cases on a daily basis. Throwing shade there. Throwing shade to make it seem like Mr. Dave Pieterse is not doing cases on a daily basis like they are. That's what I felt. I'm like, this is shade. This is subliminal shade. I'm catching it. Okay? So, and the funny thing also that I found very strange is that Miss Grobler, do you give opinions on a daily basis? You just said earlier on in your testimony, you gave an impression that this only happens once or twice, once in a while. You said 2 months ago, you gave an opinion for someone and someone gave an opinion for you. It's not something that happens on a daily basis. So how come you're throwing shade? What did Mr. Dave Pieterse do to these people? That's my question. So she said that Dave Pieterse left the ballistics section of forensic laboratory in 2015. And she says that, she doesn't know how many cases that Mr. Dave Pieterse has been doing. His opinion will be based on his own training and experience. One thing about the vibe that I'm getting here is that I don't think the Ballistic Science Laboratory of South Africa likes Mr. Dave Pieterse much. Because all of them, they have this undertone, aggressiveness that I'm picking up. I don't know how many of you guys pick it up. I feel like they don't like the guy. And now I'm even more curious as to why they don't like him. So Ramasipili then said, he also said that the reason why Colonel Mangena approaches Filion, Tini and Fisser is because he was having difficulty, and this was a borderline case of identification which could have been made inconclusive. In fact, he even went on to say that this borderline situation, how Sibanda was putting it, is not like that. The borderline part comes in the case of identification, which could have been made inconclusive. It's not to say that the whole case is a borderline case. And then Grobler said that I would suspect that the statement is based on Mr. Pieterse's assumption and opinion. So Ramasipili decided to do the textbook theoretical way of cross-examination and describing everything. And Grobler was asked if there were subclass characteristics, and she said that they are limited to a manufacturing process, they're limited to a specific batch of barrels produced. And then the judge asked Grobler for how long did she work with Mr. Petersen. Now the judge was very interested in the working relationship that Mr. Petersen and Ms. Grobler have had. He asked very pressing questions when it came to that. And Grobler answered him to say that from 2000 to 2015, so that's a period of 15 years, they worked together in the same office, seeing each other every day of the week, or sometimes, because it's overtime, weekends, for 15 years. And how she was speaking in reference to Mr. Petersen, it does not give, I worked with you on the same floor for 15 years, if you know what I'm saying. But it was very interesting. They said that he left in 2015 as the judge was inquiring more. And apparently now he's a private expert. Not even apparently, he is a private expert. So from what Grobler knows is that he started his own company. And what that company is, she doesn't know. And Grobler said that she could not recall the name of the company. So the judge asked her why she quantifies the type of work that they do. And she said that they do ballistics daily. Remember that shade I was telling you about, that shade that she was throwing, talking about how they work on a daily basis. The judge was now asking, what do you mean by that? I mean, you are saying that you guys are doing ballistics on a daily basis. Grobler said that that is their core function. It is the examination of firearms and tool marks for all the examiners in South Africa. So she said, whether you receive firearms or exhibits or tool marks, it will be determined by the operational commander.
So the judge here was, in my opinion, not trying to ask a question just because he was curious. In my opinion, it was to emphasize the fact that she said that and she wanted to hear that being said so that he can eventually say, hey, these people do this thing every day, as they said. It's not me, it's you, it's the witness that said that. So nothing that looked to me as if this judge is asking that question because they're of the shade. It was more of, say it more, one more time. Why are you saying that? Because you do it every day. So you cannot be wrong. You're perfect. You do it every day. You're perfect. Compared to someone who gets to be a consulting company outside. We don't know as yet what they are going to come and say, how many times they do it. But you guys, every day you do it. That's basically what the judge was doing there.
Because I was meaning to ask, what do you think the judge is trying to do? So then that wrapped up Ramasipili's cross-examination. Then after the long adjournment, it was now Advocate Mnisi's turn. He started with his cross-examination, and Mnisi was hammering on aspects of handling the exhibits, okay? He said one of the aspects from the Forensic Science Laboratory told this court that each and every exhibit that gets into the Forensic Science Laboratory must be registered. Do you also share the same view? That expert said that the reason for that is to trace the movement of that exhibit, and Grobler said that that's correct. Nisi asked him what are the legalities of an exhibit that gets into the forensic science laboratory in a way either than it being registered at the administrative section of the forensic science laboratory. Well, I could not really hear Grobler's response here, but Nisi then went on to ask another question. He said, he asked her to give an example, asked Grobler to give an example, and Grobler gave an example of wood being cut out, or where you have to cut out wood yourself and then carry it to the lab. So Nisi then asked him, I will go back to the reason why an exhibit that is capable of being packaged in a seal bag should be put in a seal bag and be sealed before it is sent to the forensic science laboratory. Experts have explained the reason for that, and Nisi told her that he will not be going to the aspect again with her. So Nisi painted a scenario of an exhibit that is handed over to the forensic science lab. It was worked on by a certain expert, and then it was released with an instruction that it should go for destruction. He asked Grobler, will you agree with me that when the initial expert worked on the exhibit, he had finalized his examination on that exhibit? He or she would seal it before it gets out of the forensic science laboratory. Is that not so? Well, Grobler said that that's correct. Nisi then said it went to the police station where instructions were given to the SAP 13 custodian. This is Ms. Mjali here, who was a captain at the time, with the instruction that he needed to prepare the firearm for destruction. But just before it could go for destruction, information surfaced that the firearm could be linked with this case. As a result, an expert from the forensic science laboratory went to the police station to retrieve the firearm and took it back to the lab. However, when he fetched it, he found that the seal bag was broken. He took it to the lab. The firearm was not received in the manner in which exhibits are supposed to be received at the forensic science lab, through the administration of the forensic science lab, where they will issue with a little paper. This is the receipt. This is the whole process that they were going through with Mangena, even Cyril, throughout their cross-examination. That proper procedure of that exhibit was not really followed. He then took it directly to the office. He went on to conduct tests of the firearm, part of which we are contesting now, Nisi said. And he approached you. Now, you referring to Grobler, you probably know who I'm talking about, Colonel. No? I'm talking about Colonel Mangena. And Grobler said that she does know who he is talking about. So Mnisi then said, in view of the fact that each and every exhibit that is supposed to get into the forensic science lab needed to follow certain protocol, in this instance, that protocol was never followed. What is the view of the forensic science laboratory regarding this protocol that was not followed? And Grobler said that, firstly, my lord, there will be circumstances, exceptional circumstances, as to why Lieutenant Colonel Mangena would go to the SAP 13 and collect the firearm. There would be a reason for it. As to that, she does not or cannot elaborate. And she said that Umnisi did not explain to her what those reasons are. And this shocked me, okay? And I felt like at this point, y'all are basically creating excuses for Mangena. This exceptional circumstance word that you like to throw around, every time you cannot explain or tell the court that Mangena actually broke rules. Some of the things he was not supposed to do, but he did. You don't want to do that. And then you say exceptional circumstances. So I was starting to get upset at this point. So further, the exhibits received at case administration at the Forensic Science Laboratory are handed in by an investigating officer and are accompanied by a covering letter. And as you said, an acknowledgement of receipt. This covering letter, for example, will mention exhibits that are handed in and the analysis they require. So I have a question. Did Gininda hand in since he's the investigating officer of this case, did he hand in any of such papers, documents? Did he follow such a process? Why does it feel like the onus was on Mangena? Mangena literally did everything, that he didn't even register the firearm. He just walked straight to his office, allegedly, or that's how it looks like, because he didn't even provide proof that he registered it as he entered with it in the lab. And you'll hear the excuses, some of the excuses that Grobler was making. And then, so this process will essentially not be applicable, as Colonel Mangena is not an investigating officer with a covering letter handing it in the case reception. So she's saying that this process is only followed by investigating officers. Colonel Mangena in this instance, according to her, did not need to hand in or let the laboratory know that I have picked up a firearm that went out of this lab. I went and I fetched it myself, and it's in my safe. Because literally that's what happened here. That is what happened here. Did the process and administration of the lab know that that firearm was in that lab? And right now, it felt like Grobler is really creating excuses for Mangena. But in the process, she's also trying to explain. But in her explanations, she's also giving us further information that no, Mangena did not follow procedure. He didn't do what perhaps needed to be done to let the laboratory know that he's got a firearm that has been checked out of the lab. So Grobler continued to say that when you receive anything from an SAP-13, there are specific procedures that are followed at the specific SAP-13, which are police procedures. So I would then expect that even if Lieutenant Colonel Mangena collected the exhibit himself, he would have followed those specific procedures. Well, it doesn't look like he did. Nisi then said this court has been told that he went to the SAP-13 at the instruction of the investigating officer. The investigating officer said to him that I've got information that a certain firearm that rule officer worked on could be involved in this case. Can you explain the process of going to fetch SAP-13? That is the reason why he personally went there. And he came and told this court that the reason why he did not request the investigating officer to go fetch it himself is because he himself knew exactly where to find that firearm. Do you guys remember that explanation that they had? Because they needed to explain how Mangena was the one going to fetch that firearm instead of the investigating officer. And they said that Mangena is the one who knew exactly where the firearm was. That was the excuse that they gave. So it seems like Grobler was not aware of this. It seems like she was not aware of this. So then the judge came in because it was getting hot now. He chimed in without even giving Nisi an opportunity to explain to the witness. And now the judge was starting to throw shade. This is where a lot of us now started to get upset. I even saw the chat was lit, and people were not happy with what the judge is doing. Well, the judge was saying that to Grobler that Nisi was not telling her everything or the whole story. Already, in my opinion, when you start a sentence like that to a witness, you are creating a hostile witness, in my opinion. He went to further explain that Mangena's evidence, even though he first said Gininda, he said Gininda first and then he corrected himself to say Mangena's evidence is that this firearm was involved in a Cleveland case where someone else was charged with illegal possession of that very same firearm, and that case was finalized. That's one of the aspects which you are not being told. That's one of the aspects that Nisi is not telling you. What isn't that gonna make the witness hostile? Bathumba Modimo. Can't do it. Where are we? Why is the judge doing this? Bathumba Modimo mara how? Why is mara ladies hatatam judge Mokwatleng? How bathum? And then he said, to me, this sounded like the judge was justifying also, that this is the procedure for firearms to be collected by ballistic analysts directly from the SAP-13, so long as this case is finalized. So that's how I felt as he was doing that. And he said that it's supposed to be destroyed. It's not going to be investigated in any other matter except for the one he assumes it could be relevant to. So I even saw Mrs. face laughing in disbelief. That laugh that's like, like you are shocked that this is actually happening. Not only did he distract Mrs.'s previous question, throwing him off, now he's making the witness to be very hostile towards Mnisi. How can you say that he's not telling you the whole story? What are you trying to do? Well, Mnisi bounced back. He said to Grobler, this is exactly what I was saying. That Warrant Officer Rulofse worked on this firearm, completed his examination of the firearm, and put it in a sealed bag. And the firearm was sent to the police station where it comes from. Grobler said that she understood. Mnisi said, I only omitted the name of the police station. And at the police station, the SAP-13 clerk, Mr. Mtshali, then received instructions that he needed to prepare that firearm for destruction. But before that process could eventuate, then Mr. Gininda approached Mangena that no, the firearm was Warrant Officer Rulofse worked on, could be involved in this case. So, could you then please go fetch it? Would you agree with me that as soon as the firearm was released by the Forensic Science Laboratory, after Warrant Officer Rulofse worked on it, it went to the parameter out of the parameter of the Forensic Science Laboratory? In other words, it was released. Grobler said it left the property, my lord, if that is what you are trying to say. Mnisi then said, now because the lab knew that such an exhibit is no longer in their possession, what should have been the proper protocol in respect to its return back to the lab? Grobler said it's an exception. This word, exception, is a trigger word for me. She said that it's an exception. There's no specific protocol, because it's something out of the ordinary. It is not the standing norm or the standard norm or the average. To me, this sounded like Sireo. Like, I can recall Sireo using this exceptional circumstances word a lot. And also, it felt like maybe, in my opinion, I don't know, maybe she was listening in on Sireo's testimony. That's me speculating. Or maybe they practiced on what they were going to say on that witness. I don't know. That's me speculating again. But it sounded very similar to what Sireo was saying, in my opinion. Once I hear this exceptional word and exceptional circumstances, I lose my marbles. Then Mnisi then said, what is ordinary? Then Grobler said there is nothing ordinary about this case in terms of the collection of the firearm. Mnisi then asked her, did you say that this case was an extraordinary case? And Grobler said this specific situation would be extraordinary as to now the firearm is up for distraction and it is at the SAP-13 and Kena Mangena would like to re-examine the firearm. That is something else. Mnisi then said, that's exactly my question. What is the extraordinary, or what is extraordinary about this? Well, Grobler said, I would assume that in order to prevent the firearm to be sent to distraction, Kena Mangena took immediate action to ensure that he can collect the firearm that is available for recollection. Once it's destroyed, it cannot be re-examined. So in her opinion, she said that it would be to prevent such case from occurring. Mnisi asked her, what do you say about the fact that he received information from the investigating officer? Should he have not said to the investigating officer that he should bring that firearm himself? Grobler said it depends on the situation. I cannot comment as to why the investigating officer asked Colonel Mangena to collect the firearm. Then Mnisi asked him, upon Colonel Mangena's arrival at the lab with the firearm, did he not have to register that firearm through the administrative section of the lab? Grobler said not necessarily. This I was shocked. I was shocked at this because I'm like, what do you mean not necessarily? So you guys just walk into the labs with firearms. So you're telling me that at Ballistics South Africa, you ballistic analysts just walk in with any kind of type of firearm that came from wherever, and you walk with it into the labs? Is that what you're saying? Because this, my heart almost stopped when I heard this. She said not necessarily, because the case has been registered. It's the same firearm received. There's no specific procedure that needs to be followed. I'm like, hi Grobler. So kwenzakalani? So you are trying to convince the whole of South Africa that you guys just walk in with firearms into the labs without needing to register them just because there's a registered case. And by the way, the case in particular that you are talking, or maybe you are thinking about, already there was a conviction. It was done. That's why the firearm was going to go there and be destroyed. So for this current case, Senzo's case, Mangena did not register that firearm for this specific case at the lab. That is the part where maybe you don't understand why a majority of us, or a majority of the people, have a problem with this situation. Is because he did not register it under Senzo's case 636 of Phosphorus. No, he did not do that. He just walked in, taking it from a case that's already been closed. He walked in, went to his office, put it in his lab, and started working on it. Is that how you do stuff? Just as long as, do you guys go and take guns that are supposed to be destroyed, you bring them into the lab, and there's no need for you to register those guns because the case is already registered? Is that what she's saying? That to me, it was shocking. She said as long as Colonel Mangena kept record of his actions, that it would be sufficient. Nisi then asked, what about the notion that every exhibit that gets into the forensic science lab needs to be registered in order to track its movement? Where does that fit in the fact that Mr. Mangena did not register that firearm? Grobler said in terms of the tracking an exhibit, there are several people handling that specific exhibit. Once it is received, it's received by administrative person who registered it. From there, the ballistic administration section will come collect the specific firearm. There it will be placed in the ballistic safe. From there, it will be handed over to the analyst by someone working in the safe. So there are several people involved in the handling of that specific exhibit. That is the process. For example, for this case, creating an excuse for Mangena again, Colonel Mangena was the only one handling the firearm, so the procedure would then be different. Different how? Different in him just taking it and walking with it to his safe without letting the lab know that I've got this exhibit in my possession in my office. Sure. Nisi then said, are you suggesting that you could have also gone to fetch a firearm and not register it and take it to the lab without registering it? Is that what you are saying? Now, Grobler, no, that is not what I am saying. It will depend on the merits of the case. This firearm has already been at the lab. There is already a record of this firearm. I'm not collecting a brand new exhibit that has never been received at the lab. But the case was closed. If the case was closed and is coming under a different case, it's as good as a brand new firearm, in my opinion. So Mnisi now moved to where she had to give her opinion on Mangena's work, and Grobler said that she was familiarizing herself with the markings, not to determine whether they were fired from the same firearm. So those markings assured her that they were fired from the same tool. And Nisi asked her, so why did you depose of a Section 212 statement if you were only asked to give an opinion? Interesting question. Grobler said that she was asked by Advocate Baloyi to depose the statement. Hi, a moment of silence. Turns out Grobler, because of a verbal opinion, did not even need to be writing statements, but Advocate Baloyi told her to do it. So, since Advocate Baloyi told her to do it, we all know that somehow the judge was also involved there, but then he's going to deny it. There was a stage where he denied it when Nisi brought it up. Nisi said, is it procedure? And Grobler said, no, it is not procedure, but there are exceptions. And like I said, it was Advocate Baloyi who asked it. So there are a lot of exceptions in this department, in my opinion. So Nisi then said, but Advocate Baloyi does not work in the forensic science laboratory. And Grobler said, my lord, I cannot answer such a question. The state objected, saying that it's an unfair question. This was Sibanda who got up, if I can recall correctly. And the judge asked if this is not a legal document, and Sibanda said yes. Nisi said that he doesn't understand why the court would raise the issue that a 212 statement is a legal document. The judge said it's because you are saying that Baloyi does not work in a lab. So I'm saying the document that this witness is saying was prepared for her and Baloyi is a legal document. So here we are seeing the judge again. Once Baloyi is implicated in something that feels like it's a wrongdoing, he jumps, trying to save him, save his reputation. He's done this before. So this, he was doing it again. And in my opinion, he was diverting the attention, because even him, he's under fire for this, because he's the one who suggested that statement, if you guys can remember correctly. If you can recall how even these people writing affidavits to begin with, it was discussed in court, and the judge was like, aren't they gonna write statements or something? He's the one who brought it up, and Baloyi did it because it sounded like a bright idea, and better not, it coming from a judge. Why not? You see? So the judge said that it's because you are saying that Baloyi does not work in a lab. So I'm saying that the document that this witness is saying was prepared for her, and Baloyi is a legal document. So Nisi said, and this witness has just said that it's not normal procedure. So I don't understand, how does the court fit in the fact that this is a legal document? Speaking to the judge. That was an address to the judge right there. So Nisi then said that he is on procedure, not the legal status of the document. And the judge said that he was also talking about the procedure. He reiterated that if it is a legal document, adding that if Mr. Nisi thinks that he is wrong, then he can take him to appeal. Again, he brings up the appeal again. Why does he keep bringing on appeal? Is this case going to go on appeal? Is he going to come up with a judgment that is going to be so not just that it will need to be appealed? Is that what he's trying to tell us? Why does he keep bringing in appeal all the time? Why? So already the verdict is written. We must just accept it in advance that this case is going to go for appeal. And yet your judgment is not read out yet. There's no conclusion yet from the judge, but we're already being marinated to say this case will go on appeal. So he said that it's all right because he's correct. The way he's so confident, he's correct. And a Section 212 is a legal document. He's correct in saying a Section 212 is a legal document. However, Was he correct to even recommend that Baloyi make the witnesses write a 212 statement? Is that correct? Yes, no one is disputing that 212 is a legal document. However, the procedure, was that correct? Nisi said, thank you. And then he moved on to ask Grobler, you did that in a complaint with the instruction from Mr. Baloyi. And Grobler said it was a request. So Mr. Serrero told the court that a 212 statement in terms of a firearm analysis would only be prepared by the main examiner, and the person who confirms his work does not have to pen a 212 statement. They only sign it in the form or the work file. Grobler confirmed that yes, that's how it works, unless the court requests a document to be provided as proof to assist the court. So Mnisi then said, exactly. That order can only come from the court, not from Mr. Baloyi. Did you receive any order that came from the court that you should prepare a 212 statement? Grobler said, my lord, I cannot comment on that. Did you receive any order that came from the court? Because remember how we got here, guys. Do you remember how these witnesses were even called to come to testify to begin with? Wasn't it the judge's request? Was it not from the judge? Well, Grobler is exonerating the judge here and everybody else, and she was saying, you know what, I don't wanna comment. So Grobler confirmed that that's how it works and lets the court request a document to be provided as proof to assist the court. So the judge said this court has no authority to request a witness, because now the judge was seeing what's haibo. There's something I did here. And he was like, this court has no authority to request a witness to prepare a section 212 statement. And he said that he can't make that order. But is that not what he did though? Like, guys, help me retrace the steps of what is happening in that courtroom. Is that not what the judge did before these witnesses came to testify? He said he was making an order, and he said, I will call them. At some point he was saying, I will call them, but I will do so after the defense ballistic expert is done testifying. And then he changed somewhere where he was telling Advocate Baloyi to tell them to come and testify. And also Advocate Baloyi was contesting it, I feel like, if I remember correctly, at some point. So why does it feel like this was not supposed to happen how it happened, but somehow the judge is trying to make it look like that's not what happened? He's the one who told Baloyi to call these witnesses, and he even told them to write the statement, and now it seems like he's denying it now. Ha! So Mnisi then said, I agree with the court 113%. That goes into the legality of the 212 statement that this witness prepared. But I won't get there now. My time will come to get there, whether in appeal or whenever. But the time will come. I like how he said this. Whether on appeal or wherever. But my time will come. Mnisi then moved on to the meaning of an opinion. He put it to Grobler that Mangena did not ask for an opinion, but rather for a confirmation. The state objected, saying that Mangena said that he asked for an opinion. Then the judge said that it does not matter if Mangena said something different. This witness said that she was asked to give an opinion. Then the judge said, but this witness is clear. The evidence may differ from Mangena's evidence, but she's adamant that she was requested to furnish a microscopic opinion. Guys, what's a microscopic opinion? The way they were arguing, the argument was so heated that I wanted to get every single word, every single context of what is happening here. What is a microscopic opinion? And then he said, not that you must confirm his findings. You are right and she's right. How can both of them be right? That does not even make sense. And Mnisi was saying, that can't be. The both of us are right, my lord. It can't be. And Mnisi went to the court transcripts, in fact, and read out the part where Mangena said that he asked for PS to confirm his findings. Then Grobler said, "My lord, Lieutenant Colonel Mangena brought the exhibits and I gave him my opinion, and that is a confirmation." So now we moved from an opinion to a confirmation. There is an opinion and then there's a confirmation. These two things are not the same, nor are they similar, nor do they mean the same thing. I'm asking for your opinion, right? It means there's no conclusion. There's no dotted line. There's no we are doing this. I'm asking for an opinion, and then I give my opinion. Does it mean now you take my opinion and then you confirm? Your opinion is confirmation of what I have done or what I am asking you. It does not mean the same thing. It does not. Opinion and confirmation are two different things.
Very different.
So Mnisi then said, what you and Sirao did is the same thing. Grobler said it's the same thing. The only difference is that I did not sign an affidavit. Mnisi asked about why she did not prepare court charts, and Grobler said, "My lord, it is also not the procedure for 4 people to testify about the same thing. I was not asked to prepare court charts."
I like it. I like it when you do that. I like it when he says that, when she says that, because it is unusual.
Mnisi asked, what procedure? Grobler said the examiner will prepare the court charts to demonstrate what he found. Sibanda objected. Then Mnisi said that it was not the basis of an objection. Grobler asked to respond. She said there is a difference of opinion. And Mnisi said, Mr. Ramasipili told you that the defense ballistic is one of the few cases where the defense have the luxury to have a ballistic in this country on their side. Would come and tell this court. The way they're bragging about the ballistic would come and tell this court that the reason why Mr. Mangena had to go out of his protocols, having to go and get 4 people to confirm his work, is because this was a borderline case. He was not sure whether he was coming or going. He needed sympathizers in respect of the work that he did. I can tell you that he got that sympathy despite the fact that these results that he worked on did not show a conclusive proof that the bullets that were found from the scene were ballistically linked with the firearm that was retrieved from Cleveland by Mangena. Any comment? And Grobler said that her comment is that it was based on an assumption. Mnisi then went on further to say, you chose to use pattern matching. And Grobler said, yes, in South Africa we use pattern matching. CMS deals with the quantity of marks, but pattern matching deals with the quality of marks. We don't just count marks as CMS does. We also look at the quality of the marks, the depth, the width, the ridges, valleys, and whatever. So yeah, that was it. Court adjourned.
Yes, guys, as we promised, this is not gonna be long. We are done for the day. Not for the day.
Not for the day.
We are coming back. We need to finish up today's proceedings so that we deliver them properly. That's why I was being quiet, guys, because I don't want to say more. Waste any time so that we finish up and that does do the touch up that where we need to. This is where you are going to have a call. Please like the video for now. We're giving you what you missed when we were not here, for those who are following us and also catching us catching up here and who are no longer watching. It was important for us to be here. We appreciate your presence. Please like the video, please share the video, please do whatever. Those who are not gonna sleep, we are here with you until we finish what happened today. But
I would recommend you take a nap if you can.
Yeah.
But if you can't
and
you are at work,
working, we normally are with people who are
working the night shift.
So please, for now, press that like button, push that like button, do whatever that is necessary for you to finish and contribute in this video. Thank you very much for those who contributed, guys. Thank you for membership, renewal, and everything. If you forgot also and you need to renew a membership, please do so. Thank you. We appreciate you and appreciate all your contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. We'll be back later. Bye.